My wife cheated on me thinking to do a wealthy life, but it didn't went exactly like she was thinking. I have been with S for 5 years and married for 2, and in those 7 years everything for me was great. When we first met it was love at the first sight. I loved her more and more in this years. My friends even made fun of me for my changed character when I was with her. Before meeting her I was usually a cold, thought and very hard man. My character went from my experience in the army and due to my parents' character, and I have never been so vulnerable with anyone apart her. So in this 7 years everything for me was perfect. I was doing a job that was paying me very well, I finally had some money and I was extremely in love with the woman of my dreams. Thinking now I was smart enough to make a trust where put all my money and properties and giving to my best friend and my sister the rule of executors. I did this because my best friend was divorced and he must split all his money and properties with his ex-wife when she never contributed to pay a single cent. So I did this to be protected from a possible, but at that time impossible, divorce and for emergencies because at that time I wasn't financially stable so I must had a security net. Then before the marriage we both agreed to do a prenup where the only condition was that if someone of us would cheat she wouldn't had any type of alimony, in my country is legal. The thing is that when she proposed me this I was a bit in shock because I never thought for 1 second to cheat on her or that she would cheat on me so it went out of the blue but I accepted it. The first year of marriage was perfect, we were wealthy thanks to my job that was paying very well, we're renting a very big and nice house, we're enjoying our life, doing amazing experiences, going to amazing places for vacations and we went out to new people and friends. Unfortunately, the second year wasn't so good because I started to work with my company to sign a very big client with us so I admit that I was using all my energies for my work and I told her this but she was okay because my work was our first and only resource of money since she wasn't having any intention to work but just being a stay-home wife. Anyway, I knew that my work was getting difficult and I was always tired after it but I tried my best to make her happy and satisfied in less the stressing period, about 6 months. In fact many times I put aside my personal life to prioritize her over myself just to not make her sad, feeling alone and without attention. My routine was, getting up very early in the morning, gym, making breakfast for her, work, coming home and preparing her dinner and then spending time with her, instead of relaxing. I went like this for 6 months and after the client finally signed with us I booked a 2 months vacation in her favorite place, Paris, to release stress and tension. The vacation went very well because I thought that we became stronger and more in love with each other but when we came back home I noticed that she was changing. She became distant, cold and always looking at the phone instead of talking with me like before. I tried to talk her about this many times but her excuse was personal problems and stress so I let it slide. This went for 6 months. One day I was having a very important meeting where the big boss was about to announce the risings so I was nervous because finally my hard work and dedication were about to pay off with a big rise. In fact I had a rise of 30% on my salary because of the sign with the big client and after the meeting I told my coworkers that I was about to take a couple days of vacations to celebrate the important news and they all agreed. So that day I went home early to give the announce to my lovely wife but when I parked my car I heard very loud voices of intimacy coming from my house but I thought that I heard wrong because my wife would be to shopping with her friend. Until, while I was getting near to the door, I heard her voice so I took a moment to tail out my phone and record the scene. When I entered the end of the world happened. I caught her having intimacy with a random guy and when I called her name the shock on her face was just absolutely priceless. After I entered and I recorded like 1 minute the guy sneaked out of our house partially nude and with clothes in his hands leaving my wife covered with a cushion. I swear to God I wanted to destroy everything but I just was in shock and didn't said anything. I went to my room to pack all my stuff and she started angrily to accuse me of cheating and that all this wasn't real and that I was just dreaming. Thinking now what she was saying was just absurd and with 0 sense. I took like 30 minutes to pack my stuff and drove away and when I left that house I just had a sense of relief and that all my anger and tension was getting away. I stayed in a hotel for some days while my phone was bombarded with calls and texts from her. I ignored everything and changed number. After a few more days I contacted a lawyer and told him all the situation and he said you are a smart butt. I can guarantee that a part of having half of your money she wouldn't get nothing else from you. So after a few months of no contact I sent her the divorce papers. In those months of no contact, I heard that she found a job to barely maintain the house, and when she got my divorce papers, she went on a meeting with her lawyer in mind with a big smile on her face and said I did the right thing cheating on you. I will have all your money and I wouldn't work for the rest of my life. Me and my lawyer smiled at each other and he put on the table the prenup agreement and she immediately understood her mistake. She would only have half of my money and nothing else. Then S started to cry and begging me to forgive her, that it was just a little mistake, that she loves me and this kind of stuff. This scene went on for 20 minutes and finally she signed the papers. She realized that the money she would have were enough to pay 5 months of rent of our house and that she was screwed. While I was going out of the place, she run behind me repeating all the stuff, it was a mistake, she loves me, I must forgive her and all this crap. Coming to nowadays, I met a new girl and we are dating since a few months. I'm happy, I have my work that pays me well and my life is again happy. From what I heard, she stayed at our old house for some months, until the money wore over, and now she is living in a small apartment near her new job. Of course she tried again to contact me, but I never answered her texts and calls because I don't feel anything for her but just indifference. I still thank my best friend for his advice of the trust. P.S. Sorry for my English, but is not my first language, so I tried my best.